Some lives begin with love, some begin with hope, but this story begins with fear, anger, and resistance. This is not the story of a rapper. This is the story of a child who was born into a war he never chose. The year was 1971. America was burning. Cities were filled with sirens, riots, broken glass, and broken dreams. The civil rights movement had been met with bullets instead of justice. Martin Luther King was gone. Malcolm X was gone. And for Black America, silence was no longer an option. In the middle of this chaos, inside a cold courtroom in New York, stood a young black woman. Her name was Afeni Shakur. She was not standing there as a criminal. She was standing there as a revolutionary. And she was pregnant. Inside her womb was a child who had not yet taken his first breath, yet already carried the weight of history on his shoulders. That child would be named Tupac Amaru Shakur. Afeni Shakur was a member of the Black Panther Party, a movement feared by the government and hated by the media. The Panthers were not asking for freedom. They were demanding it. They fed children. They protected their neighborhoods. And they openly challenged police brutality. To the government, they were dangerous. To Afeni, they were necessary. One morning, police came for her. She was arrested and charged with conspiracy against the United States government. The accusations were extreme: planning attacks, violence, even the murder of police officers. If convicted, Afeni would face 150 years in prison. But there was something different about this trial. Afeni refused a lawyer. She chose to defend herself. A pregnant black woman stood alone in court, facing an entire system designed to silence her. Every day she walked into that courtroom with her head held high, her unborn child growing inside her, listening to arguments about violence, hate, and fear. That child heard the sound of injustice before he ever heard a lullaby. After months of testimony, arguments, and tension, the verdict was read: not guilty, all charges dismissed. Afeni Shakur walked free, and months later, her son was born. On June 16, 1971, in East Harlem, New York City, Tupac Amaru Shakur entered the world. His name was not chosen by chance. Tupac Amaru was the name of a revolutionary leader who fought against oppression centuries earlier. It was a name connected to resistance, rebellion, and sacrifice. From the moment he was born, Tupac was marked by history. But history is not gentle. Tupac's childhood was not filled with safety or stability. His biological father was absent. His stepfather disappeared after becoming involved with the Panthers. Police raids were common. Doors were kicked in. Weapons were drawn. Home never felt permanent. 1 year New York, another year Baltimore, then Oakland. Each move meant new streets, new dangers, new losses. There was never enough money. Sometimes there was no food. Sometimes there was no electricity. And slowly Afeni began to struggle. The same system she had fought against began to break her down. Addiction entered their home quietly, then took control loudly. Young Tupac watched his mother suffer, unable to save her, unable to understand why the world was so cruel. But pain has a way of shaping people. Some break, others become dangerous. Tupac was quiet. He observed everything. At school, he didn't fit in. He was skinny, sensitive, different. Other kids laughed at him. They didn't know what he carried inside. When Tupac felt overwhelmed, he turned to words. Poetry became his escape, a place where he could scream without making a sound. He wrote about fear, about anger, about injustice. Even as a child, he understood something many adults never do. That silence can kill you. By the age of 10, Tupac had already seen death up close. Friends lost to the streets, families destroyed by drugs, dreams buried before they could grow. He learned early that survival was not guaranteed, and slowly a fire began to grow inside him. Not just anger, purpose. This child, born in a courtroom raised in chaos, surrounded by struggle, was becoming something more than a victim of his environment. He was becoming a voice. But he didn't know it yet. In the next chapter of this story, Tupac will discover art. And art will discover him. And once that happens, nothing will ever be the same. Because when pain learns how to speak, the world is forced to listen.